What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I got a hot new movie review for you. It is the new Pixar movie, Luca. And you know, 4th of July just passed, the most summery day of the year. Lots of sun, fun, and just eating as much pasta as humanly possible.
Time to carbo load.
And Luca kind of encapsulates that, so I think it's perfect to do so. And I'm ready to talk about it. I had a lot of fun watching it. So I got backwards hat, tank top, and you know what? I got my swimming trunks on too. And so you know what? Let's just hop right into it. I could have said dive right into it. Hop right, what was I thinking? It's dive right into it. Let's go. Alright, so let's start off under the sea in Italy, where we find Luca, who is feeling cooped up with family. Sorry, that was stupid. Anyway, so Luca's a little fish shepherd boy that lives with his family under the water, and it's his mom, dad, and grandma. But Luca finds himself curious about the surface, but his mom constantly makes sure to tell him to never go up there. But things change when a boy named Alberto shows up, and he encourages Luca to leave the ocean, discover his human form, and check out the cool stuff on the surface, like the magical Vespa. Ooh. But while Luca was getting caught up building Vespas and relationships, his parents find out that he's going on the surface, so they decide to try to banish him to the abyss with his creepy uncle, so he doesn't get any crazy ideas. Luca gets scared, and Alberto says, "You don't gotta do that. Let's run away, and we go live in the town nearby." And Luca is just like, anything to get me out of living with my creepy uncle. So they run away. They find shelter in Porto Rosso, where they meet a girl named Julia, who helps them stand up to this bully named Ercole. And Ercole is this kid who feels real high and mighty because in the annual triathlon of the town, he is always the reigning champ, while Julia is always reigning chum. But now that Julia has two new friends, they can help her race in this year's triathlon, and with the prize money, they could win a Vespa. Ooh. But during the training, Luca and Julia start to gain a close friendship through studying and learning, even teaching him about school, which becomes a dream of Luca's. This makes Alberto extremely jealous, so he decides to sabotage that dream of Luca by trying to reveal themselves as sea monsters. But Luca does the unthinkable. He doesn't go down with Alberto's reveal. He goes, he's a sea monster too? And betrays him. So Alberto swims off scorned, and Luca and Julia leave, except the jig is up pretty quickly for Luca as well because she figures him out moments later. So Julia tells Luca to leave for his own safety, since this town is a fisherman town who will kill any of them without hesitation. So Luca does so, and goes to find Alberto and clear things up. In doing so, he learns that Alberto lives alone on the surface because his father abandoned him. So to make things up, Luca decides to do the triathlon solo to help win this Vespa and make everything right. But things of course don't go so well, because as Luca races and is doing pretty well, it starts to rain, and that of course reveals his true form. Alberto tries to save him, but they both get caught up, and now Ercole and the town are trying to kill the sea monsters. The whole town is ready to turn them into a seafood platter, but Julia's dad steps up and says, "Hey, fish are friends, not food." And the town leaves them alone. At this time, Luca's parents show up, and then they see the town has accepted them, and they shed their human form too, along with a bunch of other secret fish people in the town. In the end, Luca technically won the race, so he uses the money to buy a Vespa for Alberto. But Alberto decides to sell it and use the money to buy a train ticket, allowing Luca to go with Julia so he can finally go to school, while Alberto stays in Porto Rosso and lives with Julia's dad, helping him catch fish and help his business. The movie ends with Luca and Alberto parting ways, saying their goodbyes, and living their best lives apart. Alright, let's start off with the greats. Right off the bat, animation. That was the first thing that, of course, I noticed. That's the first thing you see. It's very vibrant, popping, and I love just the look of the characters. They're not only designed of the human characters, but also when they transform into fish. I loved how they looked. I thought it was very interesting. And it kept my attention. It's fun to watch. And also, again, it's the overall character designs of not only them, but the human characters as well. I thought each one of them looked unique. They would pass the silhouette test, which is for, if you don't know, a silhouette test is if you just took a character and you just completely blacked them out, would you tell which character is which in a silhouette, and I think all of them did. I feel like they all looked unique, and you could tell them apart, and especially the dad, because the dad, that's a nice character design. You saw it a lot in like Clyde the Chits of Meatballs, there, and here in Luca. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of built. He's built like, you know what I'm saying? It's a cool design. I dig it. Keep it up, honestly. But that's pretty much it, And, just the way that they animated was very fluid. Obviously, Pixar, they know what they're doing with animation. They know how to work it. And this is going to kind of lead into my next point, but they specifically really did well in the first scene where Luca comes out of the water and he's learning how to walk, and he's trying to figure out how gravity works, because obviously it works differently underwater. So the way that he moves has a very specific weight that they animated very well. It looks very real and it makes sense. So as I was saying, it moves on to my next point, which is character point of view. The way that they make these characters and the way that they have each of these characters kind of looking, and I'm saying specifically for Luca and Alberto, the way that they see the world is very interesting, and they wrote it very well, because I like the way that they describe things. It makes sense why they would describe things that way, because they spent most of their lives underwater. I know Alberto came up from the water a little early on because his dad abandoned him. But nonetheless, I just think that they have a very interesting point of view. Like, say, like, the moon. He's like, that moon is a giant fish. Why wouldn't he think it's a giant fish? They're underwater all the time. Or how they think the way that humans swim is embarrassing. They obviously swim much differently than us. So it's a bit weird for them to see. And the main one for me that I thought was just so interesting to look at was, again, I already pointed out the first scene. I love their point of view of trying to learn to walk. But another one I saw was when Alberto had a very famous Italian actor, and I apologize if I butcher the name, Marcello Mastroianni. Is it? Marcello Mastroianni? Right? Is that okay? I'm sorry. Italian viewers, let me know. Anyway, I thought that was such a funny take to put on there, because mirrors-wise, he doesn't really care for those, but Alberto has an inflated self-image of himself, and to put such a high actor, such a high-status actor in the mirror instead for him to look at, it kind of plays off of just like, oh, clearly I see myself much bigger than I really am, and I see myself much more handsome and much more popular, you know what I'm saying? And you see it a lot in the movie, and so I just thought that, just because, even though it was a small gag, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was fitting. So, next up, speaking of good writing, my next grade was foreshadowing. This is me talking about the specific scene. I know there's a lot of different foreshadowing along the movie in the beginning, but this is one I just really wanted to talk about. It was the scene where both Alberto and Luca are riding down their jacked up Vespa, right down the hill, and they bounce up, and as they're flying, they're about to land on a rock. And this rock is about to just skewer both of them, is going to mess them up. So Luca pushes off of Alberto and break those two apart. And when they broke these two apart, they both get out safely because of what Luca did. He broke apart from Alberto. And I just think that was a foreshadowing that when I watched, I was like, I feel like there's something coming related to that. I think they did that on purpose. And it did. It shows. Because in the end scene, when they both split off, Alberto stays in Porto Rosso and Luca goes on the train, they have to split up for each of them to get better as people. I just think that's a very interesting topic, which I've seen Wreck-It Ralph 2, and Wreck-It Ralph 2 kind of dabbles in the same, not kind of, it does. It dabbles in the same topic of sometimes friends grow better apart in certain aspects. And I think that Luca actually did it a little bit better in their movie than Wreck-It Ralph 2 did. I think that in that movie, Wreck-It Ralph was kind of acting a bit much, like a bit out of character in the first movie. I know that's the point, but in Luca, introducing these two characters, and you show how Alberto almost starts to become an antagonist of the movie, because of course we say Hercule is the antagonist, but Alberto slowly also becomes an antagonist as well in comparison to our protagonist Luca. And you see this growing jealousy that turns him into such thing as he sees him communicating with Julia more and more. And so I just think that that's what it was so interesting to see when the foreshadowing paid off to see that clearly these two friends have to separate for a bit just to grow as people, grow as themselves, and grow up. Because I think that this movie was a much better showing of toxic relationships and growing, or and how that toxic relationships don't always have to just end to be so. They can still be friends, but sometimes some things could just, they need to separate for a bit. Some people need to grow personally, and I think that at the end it showed it very well with Alberto saying, "You got me off the island." He feels that he grew and he's finally out of his comfort zone, away from that island, and growing as a person, while Luca is going to learn human things, and he's starting to grow intellectually as he always wanted. And you know what? Maybe when they come back together again, they'll be so much better off than they were before. And speaking of Alberto being an antagonist, we have to discuss that scene. Here is a live reaction of that scene from me. Dang! He turned on my boy. He said, "Sea monster." That ain't me, that's him though. That's crazy. And I gotta say, I think that, it caused a large debate. I felt like I saw people debating whether or not Luca was wrong, Alberto was wrong, and, I'm gonna be honest, sure, what Luca did kind of sucked, but, of course, I think Alberto was wrong, but I think that, what Luca did was a reflex, I feel like. I think that's one of those things that, in the moment, he wasn't ready to reveal himself. He wasn't ready to come out as a sea monster, and I feel like you can't force someone to come out like that, and when you kind of throw them in a corner like that, they're going to react a certain way, and I don't think that we can really judge somebody for reacting a certain way, for being put in a situation that they never really wanted to be in, especially since Luca didn't obviously deserve to be in there. All he was doing was wanting to learn do a little book learning. What's wrong with that? Clearly nothing. Look at these books. Just kidding, those aren't my books. I don't read. But anyway, so I just think that, yes, Alberto was wrong, and I think that, of course, you see Alberto doing this because he has a fear of Luca leaving him, obviously, like his father did, and he has these abandonment issues, and he's starting to kind of places insecurities onto Luca, and that's not Luca's responsibility. Even though Luca, you see them, he still cares about it, but Luca should be allowed to still make more friends, and Alberto was trying to deny him of that, which I think that is why I say that Luca was still right for doing so. I wouldn't say that it was necessarily right to turn on him, but I understand at least, so that's just my thoughts on that. Let's move on. Lastly, as a great, I wanted to say voice acting. Voice acting was fantastic. I think that it fitted very well. Of course, it's granted that they're going to have very good dubbing of their animation, so I just thought the voice acting was good. I thought it had a lot of heart, too. This is also going out to the actors, the voice actors who did it, including Jacob Tremblay as Luca. I'm reading off the names right now. Of course, Jack Dylan Grazer, you know him from the movie It, which I didn't really notice until I looked. But of course, he's getting older. He was a kid back in It. He's still a kid now, but he's much older. His voice dropped. I didn't even recognize him as Alberto. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Emma Berman, I think, and Maya Rudolph and Jim Gaffigan as the parents. I thought that they were really good. I think they're always, they had a lot of fun, you could tell. They really brought their A game when it comes to their voice acting. So yeah, I would give that a great. So, with that said though, unfortunately, I could keep talking about how good the movie was, but we gotta move on to the gripes. So let's get into that. I actually only have like 2 gripes, not too many, but I would say that it did kind of add a hindrance to me as watching, but not a huge deal to make me go, ugh, this movie sucked. I still really enjoyed it, but whatever. Let's just talk about it. Right off the bat, parents. And I get it. I get that the parents, I can't say it's a gripe that they acted that way because, parents are going to parent. I get it. But I'm more talking about the writing of the parents, whereas I'm saying that sometimes it can get a bit old, where it's the fact that it's a parent going, don't ever touch the surface. The movie right off the bat, when I was seeing that, immediately struck the comparison of Finding Nemo and Little Mermaid, And, it doesn't help with the fact that they're all underwater anyway, but at the same time, it's like, when you have parents like those saying that, I immediately thought that character-wise. And so, and again, point of view-wise, yes, if I was a fish and I saw these hooks coming down, snatching up my cousin, yeah, I'd be like, don't touch that surface, those dirty humans. are turning us into sushi. So yeah, I get it. But I guess it just starts to become a bit old when you're always seeing parent telling kid not to do anything, which I understand why they do it, because it makes it that kids can learn, hey, it's good to explore things, and I completely agree. But again, it gets a bit, which is gonna segue into my next part, formulaic. And I'm saying this as a separate gripe because there's other parts other than parents that made me feel it could be a bit formulaic, including some of the story structure, which, yes, I understand that things follow a structure. All stories do. That's just the way it goes. That's one of the first things you learn in film school. Things follow structure. However, breaking certain things within the structure is how you make certain stories not necessarily predictable. And I found myself kind of predicting certain things. So I was like, okay. And I'm going to put a video here as proof. I called that the storm is going to come. And I'm going to put in the initial part right here. Hey guys, so it is 8:14. I'm still watching Luca. Right now we're at the scene where the parents come out of the water and they're looking for their kid. And I'm just making this video to say that I have a prediction that there's gonna be a massive storm towards the end of the movie. And I just wanted to make this video to just tell you that I called it. I promise. I'm right here. I'm calling it. There's a storm later in the movie. All right, let's keep watching. And then I also, again, recorded myself when the storm showed up. What? Hold on, let me turn on the lamp. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I know. I knew it. It's bound to happen. But, oh, here. Umbrella. Very nice. Disney, please don't copyright me. I'm so sorry. So, yeah, I mean, yes, I get it. And also it's a kid's movie. I'm 22. I'm about to be 23, and I'm not gonna complain that there's certain things in a kid's movie that could just happen to be a bit, a bit predictable. I get it. Trust me. I'm just saying that I really enjoy the movie. That's just the only gripe is the fact that I saw certain things coming, and that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you can just guess it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just happen to. So that's what I would be the other gripe. But with all that said, we're gonna get to the grade, and overall, I would rate this movie an 89%, a high B, because overall, I still thought it was a great movie. The gripes, like I said, they started to slowly push it back, only in the sense of that it's not a movie that blew my mind, but I found myself still really enjoying it and still really loving the characters, the animation, and also just the message overall. Which yes, I understand that you could say it was done time and time again, saying that the story of be yourself has been used over and over again. However, I really like this one because I feel like they did a really good job at really amplifying the fact that they're supposed to be monsters and people won't accept that. And then you see later on that they do, and because they're realizing these are good people. And not only that, you see a lot of the people in the town were also sea monsters that were hiding out as well. They didn't feel comfortable coming out and doing so. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people can relate to. I think especially in the LGBT community, and not only that, just any type of minority that feels like they have to kind of switch up who they are just to fit in the society. And I feel like that's why a lot of people may have related with that. And so I think that was honestly done very well in this movie. And just to wrap up this video, I just want to say I really love that ending for multiple reasons. Because one, I really enjoyed that the last shot was showing their true forms, because that was the point of the whole movie. The moral is to be yourself, and I'm glad that they showed themselves as sea monsters leaving out. And the last thing I just thought, even though it was a real brief moment, I thought it was very touching and a very full moment, is when Luca's asking, hey Alberto, how am I gonna know you're okay? And Alberto saying, I'm already okay because you got me off the island. I just thought that was so powerful, because I felt like that was good, because clearly Alberto was stuck there because that's where his father placed him there. Where else are you gonna go? But I just think that you see how these two characters benefited from each other, but they've kind of benefited each other enough to the point where they now need to separate to continue to grow. I said this already, but I wanted to point it out again because I just thought that was it was a perfect moment. Alberto's now out. He's himself, just like Luca, but they've done everything they need to do for each other. So now it's time to separate. And that's all I gotta say. So with that, I'm gonna wrap up this video here. And one thing I've kind of noticed is that I feel like I haven't been reviewing too many good movies. So I got a movie. I got a movie for the next review. I already got the idea for it. I'm very excited to show you guys this. So tune in for the next one, because it's gonna be good. All right. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.